This is Whisper from History, where forgotten voices rise again. Did you know? Hidden in the heart of the ocean lies an island untouched by time. Its name is North Sentinel. Here, the forests still rule over mankind. And here, the people guard one of the world's oldest secrets, with bows and spears. Let us uncover this story. Dense clouds hang over the Bay of Bengal. Beneath them lies a scatter of emerald green islands, fringed with turquoise waters and guarded by reefs sharp as knives. But among them, one island stands apart. North Sentinel, a place where the waves lap against untouched sand, where dense forests rise like walls of secrecy, where a people live as if time itself had been locked centuries ago. To the outside world, it is one of the last truly forbidden places on Earth, a mystery suspended in silence. And yet, for centuries, the gaze of sailors, explorers, and governments has been drawn toward it. Each encounter has carried with it a sense of awe and dread. The earliest records are fragments. In the 18th century, the East India Company swept across the Andaman archipelago. Ships searching for routes, resources, and dominion often caught glimpses of this island, an unmarked, hostile place. From a distance, men could see smoke rising through the trees, fires lit at dusk, but no one dared venture close. The reefs that ringed its shores shattered hulls like glass, and those who tried to land were met with a sight that froze them in fear. Dark figures on the beach, bows drawn, arrows aimed at the horizon. It was not a welcome. It was a warning. British colonial records whispered of the island's inhabitants Sentinelese, they were called. A small tribe, fiercely protective of their home. Anthropologists estimated they had lived there for tens of thousands of years, isolated since the earliest migrations out of Africa. But beyond speculation, nothing was truly known. In 1867, the curtain lifted, only for a moment. The Indian merchant vessel Nineveh struck a reef near North Sentinel. The crew, over 100 men, found themselves stranded on its shores. Exhausted, they attempted to light fires, to salvage food, to wait for rescue. But within hours, shadows emerged from the tree line. Sentinelese warriors, armed with bows and spears, watching silently. Then, suddenly, the attack came. Arrows rained down. Spears pierced the sand at their feet. Panic surged through the castaways. They scrambled, retreating to their broken ship, desperately signaling for help. Days later, a Royal Navy vessel arrived, rescuing the crew. Colonial officers recorded the encounter in grim detail. The message was clear. The Sentinelese would allow no trespassers. But what fueled such fury? Was it hatred of outsiders, or the memory of earlier wounds? The Andaman Islands, after all, bore scars. British colonizers had long established penal colonies, tearing local tribes from their land, decimating populations with disease, alcohol, and forced labor. Entire cultures were erased in less than a century. The great Andamanese, once thousands strong, dwindled to mere dozens. Their languages vanished, their rituals forgotten. The Sentinelese, perhaps, had witnessed these horrors from a distance. Perhaps they had seen ships carrying shackled prisoners, or corpses washing ashore. To them, the outside world was not salvation, it was destruction. And so, they resisted with every arrow they could string. By the late 19th century, the British decided to test the limits of this defiance. Naval officers landed briefly, capturing 6 Sentinelese, an elderly couple, and 4 children. The captives were taken to Port Blair, the colonial capital. The elderly soon fell ill, weakened by foreign disease, and died within days. Terrified, the authorities quickly returned the children to their island, leaving them with gifts, hoping to ease tensions. But the damage was done. The message carried back with the children was not of generosity. It was of sickness and death. From that moment, Hostility hardened. The island became a fortress. Decades passed. Empires fell. India gained independence. Yet North Sentinel remained unchanged, like a stone untouched by the tide of history. But modern curiosity could not stay away forever. In the 1960s and 70s, Indian anthropologists began cautious expeditions, led by the remarkable figure of T.N. Pundit. Unlike earlier colonizers, Pundit sought understanding, not conquest. He approached the island slowly, cautiously, leaving gifts of coconuts, iron tools, even live pigs. At first, the Sentinelese responded with violence, arrows and spears, as always. But Pundit and his team persisted. They made ritual gestures, showing open palms, turning their backs to demonstrate trust. After years of attempts, a breakthrough came. One day, as the team approached in small boats, Sentinelese warriors did not fire. Instead, they watched, tentative, curious, and then, astonishingly, they came forward. Hands reached out for coconuts, items that did not grow on their island. For the first time in centuries, there was no bloodshed, only silence, broken by the lapping waves and the rustle of palms. It was a fragile connection, but was it the start of peace, or something more dangerous? Anthropologists were thrilled. Newspapers reported these first contacts as triumphs of science. Photographs emerged of nearly naked tribesmen, laughing, touching gifts, even standing side by side with researchers. But behind the celebration lay a looming danger. For the Sentinelese, contact was a double-edged sword. Foreign goods fascinated them, but foreign microbes could annihilate them. With no immunity to modern diseases, even the common cold could prove deadly. History had shown the fate of neighboring tribes. Was it ethical to pursue contact, knowing it might mean extinction? The Indian government faced a moral dilemma. Curiosity battled with responsibility. And in the end, they made a choice to leave the Sentinelese alone. By the 1990s, expeditions ceased. Indian authorities declared North Sentinel a protected zone. Approaching within 3 nautical miles was forbidden. Helicopters that flew overhead were met with arrows piercing the sky. The message was unchanged: stay away. Yet stories still leaked through the veil. In 2004, a colossal earthquake struck the Indian Ocean, triggering a tsunami that devastated coastlines from Indonesia to Sri Lanka. Thousands perished. The Andamans were battered by waves that swept away entire villages. Fearing the Sentinelese had been wiped out, the Indian government sent helicopters to survey the island. Cameras captured astonishing footage. On the beach stood a lone figure, bow in hand, firing arrow after arrow at the hovering machine. Behind him, the forest was intact. The tribe had survived. Against all odds, against nature itself, they had endured. But how? Did ancient knowledge of the land and sea allow them to read the warning signs? Did they flee to higher ground before the waves struck? To this day, no one knows. But the Sentinelese endured where modern towns had fallen. The island seemed unshakable. But in 2006, another incident broke the silence. 2 fishermen, illegally poaching near the island, anchored their boat close to shore. As they slept, their anchor failed, and the tide carried them to the forbidden beach. When dawn broke, they were already surrounded. Sentinelese warriors attacked swiftly. By the time the authorities arrived, the fishermen's bodies lay pierced with arrows, buried in the sand. Helicopters sent to retrieve them were driven off. The bodies remain there to this day, swallowed by the island. The message was absolute. Yet, even in the modern age, human obsession with forbidden places is relentless. In 2018, a young American missionary named John Allen Shaw planned an unthinkable mission. Convinced he could bring Christianity to the Sentinelese, he paid local fishermen to take him illegally into the exclusion zone. Chow's diary reveals his thoughts in haunting detail. He described the beauty of the island, the cries of the tribe, the fear in his heart. "I don't want to die," he wrote. "Would it be wiser to leave and let someone else to continue? No, I think it is worth it to declare Jesus to these people." He approached with gifts, singing hymns, calling out words they could not understand. The Sentinelese responded as they always had, with arrows. For several days, he tried again and again. Finally, one morning, the fisherman who had smuggled him in saw his body being dragged across the sand. He was gone. News of his death spread worldwide, sparking fierce debates. Was he a martyr or a reckless invader who endangered the very survival of the tribe? Governments reaffirmed their laws: no contact, no intrusion. North Sentinel would remain untouched, and so the island endures. A fragment of humanity's earliest past, sealed away from the chaos of the modern world. What do they think? Those men and women who hunt with bows and gather fruit in the dense forest? Do they know of airplanes, satellites, wars, the internet? Or is their world bound only by the tides, the forest, the firelight at night? Perhaps they see themselves not as primitive, but as guardians, protectors of a way of life the rest of the world abandoned. To them, it may be the outsiders who are lost, enslaved by machines and greed. We will never know, because their silence is unbroken, their time unchanged. North Sentinel remains the island where time froze, a mirror reflecting both the fragility of our past and the choices we make for the future. North Sentinel, an island where time has stood still. Its people never became slaves of history, nor were they crushed under the weight of civilization. To them, perhaps we are not strangers, but a threat, and their secret may forever remain hidden between the jungle and the sea. If you found this story compelling, share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and explore our Dark Series playlist.